you reach the code, then you must allow the code to exhaust whatever they want to do. And I think that will even further prevent President Bouakai to wanting to intervene, while hoping at the same time that this matter can certainly be resolved because the country has to move forward.
Honorable Pierre, thank you very much, guys. You have question on the House of Representative saga as we ask the Honorable Minister. I'm going to bring you in first as if your two questions, and then we'll go to Brother Patrick. From there, Patrick, his two questions.
But Patrick should ask question, but not on the House because Patrick is conflicted in this situation. So he can be journalist and be what he is at the same time. You know,
when I'm asking my question, CEO, I'll make the clarity.
Thank you. Let's bring in. So guys, we are running on time. We hope we can get enough with the Honorable Minister. Your two questions, Mr. Toba.
Yes. So, Mr. Minister, different people have kind of accused different camps of being involved. Some people have said the Unity Party is orchestrating some of these things initially. Some people are of the opinion that Thomas Farah and George Weah, I was one of those who thought that. And it seemed that things have changed. But then at one point, also it seemed that there were different interests converging to get to this point. What is your position on the due process issue and the respecting of the speaker as the presiding officer in the legislature, and what needs to happen for him to be relieved of that responsibility?
So you see, when I start to have an opinion as a person on things such as due process and making a determination as to what should happen and what should not happen, then in a way I'll be making an interference. I think the question of due process and all of these things were what led the speaker to proceed to the Supreme Court. Because if someone believes they are not being given due process, or they believe a process that is ongoing does not meet the barriers of minimum legal requirement, the place to address that is the court. So it's good that the speaker went to the court. I cannot have a personal opinion on what they should do, what they should not do, how they should proceed. They got their own rules in addition to the laws of the nation. I'm sure they look at their rules, they look at the laws of the nation, they have the disagreement, and then one side went to court, which is the best thing to do because the court is the place where you can resolve issues when you have some doubt as to whether the right thing is being done. I think it should remain in the court, in the board of the court. It should not come to me, because if I try to tell you now what my opinion is as to what a due process is given and what constitutes due process or what's supposed to be done, in a way, away from what the approach the president has taken so far of not interfering, as a cabinet minister, I will be doing exactly what the president has ordered. So I'm not sure I want to say anything about that. Be better.
Thank you. So the perspective of some people will be that wherever the president submits the budget to, it means that he's endorsing that particular faction if he does it that way. But like you said earlier, the work of the government has to go on. So already to this point, what do you think has been the impact on the operations of government? And then if the budget comes into play, and I believe the budget is already a little bit delayed in when it was supposed to be submitted. I don't know whether it was tactical in terms of this whole thing going on, or whether it was actually because they were doing work on the budget. But
the budget was still being worked on, I think. We were not ready to submit it because it was not yet complete. So one additional week was requested, and by our standard, that 1 week is supposed to come to bear by Friday. Would there be a further request for extension? I don't know. Will it be submitted on that Friday as was requested? I may also not know, and that's what I said to Stanton and that agency before you guys came on, that we all should look forward to or Friday, and they were pushing me to say, so Friday who the thing will be submitted to, and I was clear that I'm not the one who's going to submit it. So let wait and see what those who, because I've not had a conversation with them prior to coming, so to make a proclamation on what they would do, I could basically inform you. I could tell you something, say they would do it this way, and then Friday comes, they do something else, and then you say, oh, the information minister came right on this platform, lied to us that this is what it was going to be.
Right. But the first part of my
Thank
question
you.
was the impact on
Yeah.
government so far with this still
Oh, there is.
Do you think
Oh,
it's significant?
yeah, there are impacts because you see, the legislature is there with specific functions. For example, we in the executive, these are people who have oversight responsibility because their work is how you call it, representation, oversight, and lawmaking. So if you're not, if in a conflict situation, I guess it has some impact on what may happen. For example, why if they wanted to call the Minister of Information? Because that's one thing they do so frequently. Some people left and right. Why if they wanted to do it? So say Speaker Kofasa called me, Minister of Information, you are summoned. And consistently at that same time, the other side sent me letters say you are summoned. It's a conflict situation. You would be trying to pull me in because where do I go? Go to the both of you, and why if you schedule my summon the same hour, same day, same hour, everything. So when those kinds of things happen, then of course there could be some consequences, slowing the function of government and all of that. But then again, they've gone to court, and let's hope that the court process will help them to resolve the matter.
So let me bring in Vandana Patrick. VP, you have two questions, sir.
So I see I'm Mr. Patrick's, Fandela Ara Patrick's. But I think my new name is, Regroup, as you said last night. But let me make a clarity quickly. Mr. Minister, it's good to have you on this platform. I respect you a whole lot. Very good, big brother. But just a point of clarity, I have not taken side. I'm not conflicted. I am defending the rule of law. Having said that, you were to submit this budget last week, but the government formally, through the office of the president, communicated to the House of Representatives, stating that you need additional 1 week to submit the budget. Friday, you should be officially submitting the budget. I heard you saying you cannot speak as to whether there will be another request for additional week. But as a cabinet minister who goes to cabinet meeting, I am sure before this proposal was made, it was discussed in cabinet, maybe the Minister of Finance communicated with other cabinet ministers, and you being the spokesperson of the government, you might have been informed. Tonight, can you please tell the Liberian people, if the president does not submit this budget, or the Minister of Finance cannot submit this budget to the House of Representatives, does that mean that this president or this government is trying to fuel the conflict within the House of Representatives? Because the more you delay the budget, you give legitimacy to two sides. That's my conviction. How can you address that?
All right, so Vendela, let me make a realization here. In many years, I worked in the Saliva administration, like Stanton said. In many years, this is one of the first time that the government is endeavoring to submit a budget in a time frame that allows the legislature to deliberate on that budget for a couple of weeks before passage. In that passage, when the budget year is already gone 3-4 months into it, they're trying to do something that will lead to the passage of the budget so that from January 1, because our new budget cycle, which used to be from June to September, is no longer. It's from January to December. So that from January 1, if the legislature proceeds in doing what they're supposed to do, you have a budget. This is the first time that is happening. So when the request was made for a 1 week suspension, a delay, We didn't necessarily have to have cabinet to do that. In fact, we have, during that cycle you're talking about, we've not had cabinet meeting. The function of preparing and developing the budget rests with the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance made a determination that the budget will not be ready for submission as was scheduled to, and therefore they asked for one additional week. What I said in response to whether it will be submitted on Friday or whether they will make another request is because when Stanton asked me earlier, you were not on, will the budget be submitted on Friday? My specific answer to Stanton was, that was the pronouncement made. I have not heard something on the contrary. So I must assume that they're sticking to that. But that's an assumption. What if it changes? What if those who ask for 1 week have not done what they're supposed to do, and they come and say, oh, give her additional 1 week? You said in your question, with that not amount to trying to feel, when the government budgetary preparation was on, it was not done with any recognition of an anticipated conflict in the lower house. So it cannot be the guiding instrument that determines when we conclude, when we submit. It purely has to be based on account of the finance ministry is convinced they have finalized the budget, they have crossed their T's, they have dotted their I's, and the budget is ready for submission. That's why it would be hinged on, and not about the unfolding conflict.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. My last question has to do with the intricate variables involved with respect to the ongoing conflict at the House of Representatives. Assuming with our admitting that this thing drags on for additional 1 month, and the president is under obligation to submit the budget, what is the president contemplating on? As a government official who sits in cabinet meeting, what are the public officials contemplating on? Nobody knows as to whether this thing will end next week or 1 month or 2 months. It's a legal battle. What is the government contemplating? What is your plan B? If this thing continues to go on, civil servants will have to take pay. Medication will have to be in the hospitals. The people who are sick, MRI, we don't even have many of them in our hospitals. People are dying. Just yesterday, I visited JFK. 2 persons died because they never had bed to admit them. And it was painful, very painful. When the budget is delayed, many of the things that we want this government to succeed on, it will be stalled. So when the political battle and legal battle at the House of Representatives drags on for additional 2 months, what is the government planning to do? What is the government? When you sit with this president, what runs in his mind? What are the mechanisms put into place just in case, because he cannot interfere? What is he going to do with the budget? How is he going to find alternative measures to address these concerns, pay civil servant teachers?
Good question, Patrick, and probably you're displaying some of your Harvard skills, strong brother. Good question, but this is it. You see, when we have conflict, even if I had a conflict with you, and Stanton as a friend between the both of us will want to intervene and say, oh, I can help Vendela and Jerolime to quench this situation. There is something that is bigger than that intervention that Stanton will want to make. And that's something that is bigger than him, is the law. Naturally, when people have problems, they seek to resolve their problem, it's to the law. In the middle of this conflict, the speaker realized that. Don't forget, the speaker is a lawyer by profession himself. He realized that in all the disagreements we have in all the stalemate we have in, there is a place of solution, and that's before the law. He went before the law. My thing is, assuming that this thing is supposed to drag on the way you envisage it, it will not necessarily be about the president figuring out, because the president cannot be doing something that is not required or called for by the law. It is within the context of the law that this matter must be resolved. And I'm sure, even with the separate and coordinating nature of our government, the court is there to help us find solutions to conflicts when they exist. And if the need be, where we in a perpetual stalemate or deadlock or whatever, I believe at that point, the court will be used and the court will do the right thing, because the court's action will always be based on the merits of the law. But we are also saying to ourselves, these are people elected, and you belong to some of the constituents where the people were elected. They owe you, they represent you. What are you saying to them as people they represent in the place? Are you folding your hands and say, oh, this thing that the president must resolve it, the president must resolve it, and you're not speaking to your lawmakers? So there are different fronts at which you can engage, in addition to the fact that, all in all, if there is no progress, it must be resolved by the law, and the court is there, and someone has realized that and already gone to the court. So let's see what happens.
So one may
All
think
right,
that
thank you very much, our brother Vandela, Aaron Patricks. We want to say thank you very much for your 2 questions. While we move on, this 8th will be on Friday, which is the day after tomorrow. They went to the Supreme Court. The justice in chamber said, listen, go back to your normal duty. We cannot carry on the rate which were prayed for by the Speaker Funati Kofa and his team. The question that Liberians are very, very concerned about right now, if this rate continue and there is no other redress from Speaker Kofa and his team, as everything remain constant, no court intervention, Mr. Minister, not the Supreme Court, nothing whatsoever. That is to say, the budget should be submitted. I know I don't want to put you in a situation you can't handle, but it's very, very important that you didn't answer that question whether the president will submit the budget or Gafwan will submit the budget to the speaker. A lot of folks on our live feed saying that you drilled in the question. You saying, I don't know. They will send it to the chief clerk. You call in the pro tem. We are just talking about this speaker. If the chief clerk, the deputy chief clerk, they are all with the majority black, then are you telling the Liberian people, once submitted, the budget will be in the hands of Thomas Fala and the majority black? Because you must give it to the chief clerk or the deputy chief clerk.
So I didn't say that either. And today is Wednesday, Stanton. Friday is just a stone throw away. And those who have the statutory and legal responsibility to submit the budget will submit the budget. You and I will be there. We'll see how it will be submitted, where it will be submitted, and whatever it is. I prefer to handle it that way. You see, because I got strong concerns about my reputation. It's better I tell somebody I don't know something than to say something and the next meeting they say the Minister of Information lied. So let's respect what I have said.
So you don't know.
So it's based on what I'm able to. I don't know where it will be submitted.
Okay. So at least you throw in the white flag. Why the budget not submitted? What was the excuse given by Gafwan?
The budget was not ready.
There must be a reason you care to tell us why
it was not ready. The budget.
Is it true that because you guys needed the IMF $40 million to come in and make all the necessary correction, because of those reasons, you had a little delay in the budget?
Simply put, the budget was not ready.
Is it because of other additional money from partners? I don't want you to just give a vague budget not ready. You are the information minister. Let's get into the substance why the budget was not ready.
I'll give you an example why the budget was not ready. My ministry, for example.
Do you know that because of money coming, 40 million coming from IMF, that dragged this budget issue? Is that true?
So I know that the budget was not ready because my ministry, for example, they had to work on Sunday. They stay at the ministry all day because of the details that were required from all ministries to ensure the finalization of the budget. So the budget was not ready. And if it is being submitted on Friday, it will be submitted because it will be fully ready.
Real quick, before we go to Dr. Richardson, while we're on the budget, there's a communication that came up concerning the military that they have not gotten the pay. Can you talk to us? have the military taken the pay and Civil 7? Have they taken the pay for the month of October, sir?
So, you know, when it comes to these security issues, I'm I don't even know why that became an issue, because it was not an impression that there was not money to pay the military. It was a situation of the day they expected that their money would have been paid. It was not going to be ready, and somebody had to be responsible enough to communicate with their command structure and say, this is what it will be. And to the best of my knowledge, when I spoke to some of the authorities the other day, I'm told that matter was resolved and the situation was settled. Except somebody didn't tell me the truth, but at least from what I know, from what I was told, that matter should be settled. You muted. You muted.
All right, thank you. So the military have been paid for the month of October. That's what you were told?
From what I'm told, that's why it should be.
Have you confirmed that with Gafwan?
From what I'm told, that's why it should be.
Have you confirmed that with Gafwan? Or the ministry? Let me say the finance ministry. I don't want you to leave and you say, but somebody else told you. You are the information minister. Have you confirmed that from the finance ministry? Or the defense ministry?
All right, that's where I was coming. It doesn't necessarily have to be the finance minister.
Have you confirmed that with the finance or the defense ministry?
If the folks who are working at the Ministry of Information are paid, I should know as a minister. And I'm saying to you, to the best of my knowledge, that's what I'm told, that matter has been resolved.
Okay, so Dr. Richardson, let's talk about the salary thing. We will be opening the phone line. Have Civil 7 gotten the salary? Because yesterday on Click, and I want to play this clip, Senator from Grand Jeda County, Zopena, he raised an issue that Civil 7 have not gotten their pay. People in Grand Jeda, teachers and workers from his county have not gotten the pay. Though the senators make it out of joke, and Darius, they don't say, but you as a senator have not gotten your pay yet. It's like they are despising the Civil 7. But let's stick to this issue. Have the Civil 7 gotten the pay for the month of October, Mr. Minister? All right.
So before you go to that, let me give you additional information, because some of the authorities are listening, and one of the authorities listening is the Minister of Finance. And let me tell you what he has indicated to me. Since you wanted specifically, you are concerned about him.
Correct.
The military payment started before the end of October. And by the 1st of November, the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning have fully credited all accounts of AFL employees. This comes officially from the Minister of Finance. So I guess it meets your satisfaction.
No, not really. But I want to upload the letter. Then somebody is not saying the truth. The letter from the military. And can he give us the exact time payments were issued? Because I think if he tell you, say, almost to, he's not being accurate. If you want to satisfy the questions, then let's just go into it.
I said you are not listening. I read it in clear. The payment started, that's what I read. And you said time, the payment started before the end of October. And by
that's not a time. That's not time. Before the end of October, that's not time.
No, you're not listening. If you're listening, then you will allow me to end it.
I am listening. You said before the end of October.
It started. But if you allow me to read the whole thing, then you will not ask the question you asked.
Okay, then go ahead, read it.
What the statement says, the payment started before the end of October, and by the 1st of November, the MFDP has credited all the accounts. Specific date, by the 1st of November.
Yeah, but you know what, Mr. Minister, chill. We have to get this information to the people.
I'm chilling, bro.
And you and myself go on this road all the time. My question was exact. I'm about to send you the letter from the defense ministry, all right? And we can also go into as to what Gafwan is saying. That's why I asked you, did you speak to the finance minister? You couldn't answer, and you say you spoke to people from the defense ministry. Now the finance minister is saying before the end of October, all the way up to the 1st, every account was credited. Now, let's put that aside for a minute. Have the Civil 7 gotten the pay, the salary for the month of October?
Before we go to the Civil 7 thing, you got to correct something. You see, as I'm sitting here, every piece of work I author I'll take note of them. At no point in this conversation I mentioned Ministry of Defense saying anything to me. I consistently said, all your colleagues here can witness. I consistently said, to the best of my ability, the information available to me, that issue has been settled. And that everybody on the show. But I'm still here. You say, I said,
no, but I asked you about finance. You said, but not only finance, that defense. And I went to defense. You say, yes, that's what I was about to say. We got a clip we can play, but I'm not going to rest on that. Have the civil servant gotten the salary for the month of October?
So all the people who work in the Ministry of Information are civil servants, and they have all been paid. And the reason why I've made specific reference to the Ministry of Information, the process depends, because the different ministries are assigned to different banks, and those banks do different work to credit different accounts. So it is possible that the Ministry of Defense gets paid maybe 5 days ago, another ministry got paid 3 days later, another one got paid 5 days later, and they will spread across. For the people in the county, sometimes it takes even more slower than that. But when that is happening, it means that the government has prepared salary payment for all in the civil system. How it gets credited in their accounts is a process that may vary from entity to entity. So yes, the government is constant and is current with the payment of civil service salary.
So quickly, CEO,
No. Let that big. Hold on, brother Fandela. Let me go to Dr. Richardson. Let's do the round table. I'm begging, guys. Let's welcome Dr. Buple and our brother Paul Kennedy. We'll come to you, brother Patrick. Dr. Richardson, you can take us to the next conversation where the guys meet us, that where we'll continue, because it's 10:16 right now in Liberia, and we should be very, very careful with the time. Dr. Richardson.
So I want to take us right where we are right now and then move us to.
Before you talk, let me tell Stanton, thank you. Even though he said he brought me for 1 hour, I've gone 2 hours. But go ahead, it's good.
How will you say you go 2 hours? It's just 1 hour 46 minutes since we've been on the show.
1 hour 46 minutes are 2 hours. Basically.
There's a scene where the people wrote that to Richardson. You see, let me say this, guys. You don't get between Fandela, Patrick, and myself. And I bought to post this. I want you to go back to the text. Chief of Staff verbal directive dated October 30th, 2024, concerning this payment issue. That's why we're asking you, be exact on the date. So the minister cannot just send an empty thing and say, almost to the end. Almost to the end is not a time. And Gafwan know better. But we'll come back to it. Dr. Richardson.
You see the minister saying empty thing, but I stop it, man.
No, but Gafwan knows better. How can Gafwan don't put time? He's a finance minister. He should be with time, date, season, and out of season. He can give up vague stuff and say almost to the end. That's why you will put on document when IMF asking you almost to the end. Are you kidding me? So when he started paying these people, the letter that came out. The letter that came out was the 30th of October. No.
You're getting your Stanton element now.
All right, I'll come down. Thank you. Dr. Richardson, go ahead.
My question to you is,
yes,
I heard you just talk about the variations in when people get paid, and you are blaming the banking system. Is there anything that you believe that your government can do about this? Because I think that, to have some people being paid the 1st and some people being paid the 5th or the 16th, it just doesn't seem right to me. It seems like out of order or something like that. I don't know if there's other systems where I've heard this done before, Yeah,
it is not. And unfortunately, I've been around for a bit. Let me tell you what used to happen this leave time, for example. You start the processing of civil servant salary from the 15th. Because you see, people work for a whole month. If you pay somebody on the 15th, they still got 15 more days to work for, so that you almost prepaying and you credit to them. But because of the amount of government entities that got to be covered, they will start from that 15. It is possible some people got their accounts credited by the 15th, some got their credited by the 16th, the 17th, and so forth. The goal was before the month ends, because you owe people salaries when the month ends. But if you were to determine to pay everybody at the end of the month, Then some may spill over based on when banks will do posting and etc. etc. So the goal was when you start by the 15th, no matter what happens before the month ends, you pay all your civil service. That process, I guess, still continues because before Minister Gafan could come in, I know the Minister of Finance was at the Mika press briefing on the day, and they said, yes, we commence that business of beginning the payment of civil servant salary by the 15th. We try to meet a goal of ensuring that before the month ends, and that's the time you actually pay people for, then everybody are paid. So, for example, I think it was 2 days ago that people in my ministry saw their lights in their account. It's into the new month. Some people have gotten it before the end of the month that they were being paid for. In our case, that's the time we got it. It's just some of the operational issues that you're right could be resolved to make it better, to make something uniform and all of that. I mean, I don't argue that because when in governance, and not just governance, in everything you do, you may see hurdles and obstacles. It must be a mindset on your part to say, we can change this thing, we can make it better than why it is, and not yet keep. So you're right. I mean, and I hope the appropriate authorities are listening, they see the wisdom in what you say, and they could give it some consideration.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I actually I didn't think you answered my question to you about the president getting involved with the members who deflected to members of the Unity Party who deflected.
You're going back to the horse again?
Yes. I just want you to know that I felt like you went back to CDC explanation, like, oh, CDC wrote the people and what have you. So I just wanted to register that. I don't think you fairly answered my question, but you don't have to answer that now. You can answer at another time. But I feel like in order for this issue to be resolved, the Unity Party members have to be called and spoken to and asked to go and face the gavel of the speaker, whoever Fanati Kofa, because it's affecting them as well. It's affecting the entire government, as you register here today, as you demonstrated here today. But they are also being affected. It's their government has been affected. So I just wanted to say that. But Senator, did you want me to move on?
Considering their independence and the separable nature of the governance system, assuming we say that, and they say no, what is it? So you see, that's why I say the law is a red framework through which you can resolve that. And I think the speaker realized that, and that's why he went to the Supreme Court. Because it's one thing. I mean, look, even though when we give the explanation, somebody will say, "Oh, but a CDC explanation." But the truth is, Speaker Kofa is a CDC speaker. 11 seditions signed a resolution to remove it. Is that people say if your horse doesn't sell you, the street will not buy you. So rather than focusing the attention on the other people, it's like, look, that rages in my house. I put my own house on fire. My enemies will not help me to cut the fire off necessarily. Maybe they will bring gasoline or more fuel. So I must not put my house on fire in the first place. And maybe the way to address the fire situation is to say, hey, what are you doing this to your own person? Aren't you the same people who created the speaker? Why you want to remove your own man? Correct. So then they take the responsibility more than the people who you think aiding and abetting the process. So I am not into too much the other person said. The only reason why we spoke to this issue from the beginning was because from day one it happened, the former president wrote a long statement pointing the accusing finger at the office of the president and the executive branch of the government for being the masterminds. And we were asking our questions. So the executive branch now is the mastermind, is being the instructing 11 of your own people to facilitate something that they are the masterminds of. It didn't make much sense to me, but that's where we are.
Man, thank you very much for that, Dr. Richardson. Thank you, guys. Let's just move on. I know some of you that came late probably have questions on the House of Representatives, but we have dealt with those questions. We have issue about LDA, LDC, NSA, the yellow machine, the STEM program that was introduced today, a very good program. Conversation about the road, good governance, the overview, and other things that may be on your mind. So we're going to go back now to do the round table. Guys, please come in with one powerful question that we can do this thing real quick and try to make the necessary adjustment. We'll go to our brother Avatoba, Vandela Patricks, Dr. Bople, and Paul Kennedy.
So we can ask questions, right? Not necessarily with all that stuff.
No, you
Just
can
on
go
one.
ahead. Go ahead. Ask your question, brother
Okay.
Isaac.
So Minister, since we're talking about salary, I just want to know what's the status of salary, because you have staff at the different embassies and other places. Um, and some of the minister counselors for press and public affairs at some of the missions, supposedly there have been rumors or grumblings that the weird government left them in limbo. They were not paid, and some of them had to pawn some of their stuff and all to try to make things happen. So with the continuity of government, are you aware of that, or is there any plan to try to make those people whole so they don't lose, whatever situation they're in terms of if they did really pawn stuff, or just for them to be caught up in the salary?
So I think there were some issues. Towards the end of the administration, there were new deployments made in the Foreign Service. The procedures and processes were not effectively concluded. So many of these people who were deployed were almost seen like abandoned people because they were not captured in the system as they should have been. And because the whole thing was a rush situation. And I'm sure some of those people have some problem that we all heard and followed. The Ministry of Information, for example, is responsible for deploying minister counselors for press and public affairs. We don't have the capacity because we are a small ministry to deploy them everywhere we have embassies. So I think we have about 7 missions where we deploy minister counselors. In Africa, is in Ghana and Nigeria. Then we have some in Paris, in Belgium, in Germany, at the UN mission, in Washington, D.C., in China. For all those people, what we were able to do effectively, and which is current, is that rather than waiting to pay them monthly as it used to be before, we pay them quarterly. So when you pay them, it's for a whole quarter. They're able to pay their rent, and then they ought to manage the salary and do what they're supposed to do. Just today, the controller brought documentation for me to sign onto their rent and salary, which will be going for another round of quarter. So from our perspective, yes, we on course. If I should be able to speak generally, not just about minister counselor, but what is happening in the Foreign Service, it will require a small conversation with the Minister of Foreign Affairs to have some details rather than making assumptions.
Okay, my second question, I know you're doing
Let's
some
do it
stuff.
one. We come back. I say, I beg you. Let's do it one. I beg you.
Oh, okay, I didn't know. I thought it was 2.
Yeah, no, let's do it one real quick. We'll come back. Let me go to Vandela Patrick. Mr. Patricks?
Yeah, so thank you. Clarity. I've done my independent investigation with respect to the payment of salaries. And I can confirm to you that the Ministry of Finance have processed 65 spending entities, sent them to the commercial banks, collected information, and the delay from what I have gathered is the fact that, and having worked in government before, commercial banks delay in the processing of salaries of civil servants. So I just wanted to state it clearly, so that, but this is not an endorsement of what you're saying, Mr. Minister. But what are you doing in government
I want endorsement
to prevail on these banking institutions? I am a victim. The Ministry of Finance used to process our, stuff and send it to commercial banks, but they would delay in the process, and it really used to get to us. As a government that promises transparency and accountability, when the Ministry of Finance process, what are you doing to ensure that these commercial banking institutions also live by their objective to speed up the process so that the largest you are receiving tonight, you're not receiving?
So I'm receiving larges, eh?
Oh, yes,
So, but anyway, Okay, so it goes back to what Dr. Richardson said earlier. And you see that I agree with her that the fact that something has been done in a particular way is continuing doesn't mean you can focus on it to make it a little better. I mean, I alluded to that. So the point you made is genuine, it's valid. And from the conversation we're having here, I know who's listening, who's not listening. And so the people in the sector are also listening. They're hearing you. They're hearing the concern, not just from you, but if they're reading the comments, they are looking at what people are saying. And I'm sure they're taking cognizance of all these concerns, and they will certainly do something about it. I mean, but it's a genuine concern you have.
Thank you very much. Our Minister, Jeremy Pierre, will be going to Dr. Bopler. Before we do so, yes, the letter from the Armed Forces of Liberia. It came up on the 30th of October 2024. So again, thank God you say Minister Gaffwan is listening. Whether he start the process on the 30th or he started the process on the 31st, I think he need to be more clear on his text messages to you, because by then they said that salary will not be issued, and these are concerning. So where the minister stands, I think he need to clarify further. 1, 2, while you're on the phone with the minister and he listened to the show, can he tell you why was the budget delay exactly for the Liberian people to understand? Because he can text you on the salary issue, but he cannot respond to why the budget delayed. And what we're hearing in the news media, it was delayed because of the request of $40 million, which they were expecting to make some salary adjustment. I will leave that with Minister Gaffwan. If he chooses to reply to you, we appreciate. Dr. Bopler, can you please come in with your question?
So you will not leave it hanging. I will come back to it.
No, you will after Dr. Bopler.
What I said, the budget was delayed because it was not ready, and that's why you should take.
But you are not the finance minister. There must be a reason why it was delayed. I cannot hold you
because it was not ready.
No, it was not ready. Would not be the excuse you put on your bank slip. That's a wrong excuse. You owe it to the Liberian people. So when we ask this question, you can just we are not just followers. You just cannot say it was not ready. So therefore, we'll not tell you guys. You guys work for the Liberian people. When we ask, we deserve an answer. It was not ready. It's not the answer that Gaffwan can give us.
The board getting in element again. The budget was not ready.
I ain't get element. Dr. Bopler, please ask your question.
Thank you, CEO. Honorable Minister, good to see you. Good evening.
Yeah, it's nice to see. I've listened to you a couple of times, but I've not been fortunate to be on the show while you were there. So it's good to be here with you.
Well, it's good to be here with you also. So I have a question. The issue with salaries delay, have been something that have plagued our country for a long time. And oftentimes, salary delay, but yet a whole lot of other expenditure occur. In this case, in the first 9 months, 10 months of this government, as you know, there's been a lot of trips abroad and around the world. But then we hear salaries not paid. So I want to ask you, because like we all do, that people or the government, when we talk about the government, we're not talking about infrastructure, we're talking about people. And the obligation to pay people is one that the government must hold sacrosanct. These are people with families. Is there a policy that this government can put in place that prioritizes payment of salaries as a number one expense? And by number one, I mean in terms of operation month by month. There are other things the government has to do. And then other things become secondary, like trips. Those things are optional. In other words, if the people at the AFL have not been paid, right, and the payment is coming due next week, and there's a trip to go to France next week, that will postpone that trip or miss that one so that we can hold the resources and pay people. Because I really think if our government can be the government that pays people on time for the next 5 years, you will be a government that stands in a class by itself. Is there a policy that you can put in place of fiscal practice so that salary payment always first, then other things. Mr. Minister.
So the first thing to correct is that there's not a crisis year with salary payment.
I
And I
didn't say it
think,
was a
I
crisis.
think no, you
It
said
happened.
the question of not paying people salary.
It's
So
something that has happened over the decades in our country.
yeah, quite agree. But like before you, John, like I said to Stanton when he asked the question, we have tried under this administration to be current. And some of the challenges that sometimes make everybody not receiving their pay at the same time were raised by Dr. Richardson earlier and raised by Vandala. And I'd said that was something that is recognized. And that doesn't come against the background of the government not making the payments in time. It's been some challenge with posting because everybody paid by direct deposit. So it's been some challenge with posting by different banks. Every bank got some different challenges because we pay everybody through the bank, but not one bank. Every bank got a number of government entities and so forth. So based on some of the processes that they use, there may be days of delay in when the person's account is fully credited. But at the governmental level, at the Ministry of Finance, they've been ensuring that the processing of people's salary is done month by month and in a timely manner. Can it be made better, like Vandala said, to engage the commercial banks so that they act in a way that make their operational thing to look consistent with the timing of the government? Yes, we should be able to do that because you can be doing something and you think that because the way it is, it always has to be that. When the other people have problems because we're dealing with them, we got to engage in, as Bandera said, to make sure that they see the need to improve the efficiency of what they do to make sure people accounts are credited in time. It's a fair concern, and I don't see any reason why anybody from government should be opposed to that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Pierre. Let me bring in Paul Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy, please, your question.
Good evening to everyone. Good evening, Honorable Minister. It's good to see you.
Good evening, brother. Good evening.
So, when people work, they have to get paid. And to all extent, let's give some gratitude to the government for improving on this area. Why do we have a centralized pay system only coming from the Ministry of Finance? Why can't every paying government ministry have the ability to pay their own staff and their own people? I mean, you being around the world, for us who live in the US, when government pays, all of the agencies get money that same day. As soon as they press the button, everybody gets paid. Some people don't get paid today, the other people get paid next week, and so forth. Why is the Ministry of Finance centralizing the payment for all of civil servants and people who are supposed to be employee of government in the country? And what policy, Mr. Minister, are you putting in place at your ministry? And again, thank you for the weekly press review. But what policy are you putting in place so that the Liberian people are informed of government activity? Most of the time, we have to assume and sit down there and think what government's supposed to do without any effective information getting to us. What are you doing in those regards, sir?
So a lot. You see, one of the reasons why since I took over as the Minister of Information, I guess over 50 additional media institutions that did not exist are existing. I signed those licenses to make sure that they have the space to function. The reason why we do that is it's not just the Mika press briefing, for example, that takes the information to the people. It's the pluralistic nature of the media entities. If you don't have the Spoon, you don't have the OKFN, you don't have the, and just name them, including all the new ones we have, then we can get out. When you go to the Mika press briefing, the people you see in the rooms are people from the different media institutions. And the goal is for them to help us to get the information out to the people. As a ministry, Paul, I worked at the Ministry of Information before. For so long, I give you some just practical instances. When I used to be there as a deputy minister, at one point they brought some foreign experts and consultants who came And we worked together to develop what was the government's strategic communication strategy. At a cabinet media presentation was made, and everybody was celebrating that wonderful document. You know where we bid rest in peace to that document? When the man came to the financial side of it, as soon as he got the money, it was the end of that plan. Because people see communication from, and Stanton will know, he runs a media entity. He knows what a packet goes through to keep it running. But there's always a temptation of people thinking that communication is cheap. No, it's not. And as a government, not just this government, from time to time, we've not made focused on communication. Most of the times, what we do is knee-jerk reaction. When your feet is under the fire, the press people tearing you apart, then people see the need to quickly act. When everything will look like it's okay, then it is considered normal. That's what we've been. But even in the midst of those challenges, what I have been able to initiate along with a team, in Ghana, you go there, you see the daily graphic, it's the state a newspaper. Very regular, powerful. People leave a private newspaper, and everybody will be looking for a copy of the daily graphic. New Liberia, we've been struggling forever. Most time, it will come here once a week. Certain time, can you disappear? From the time I took over as the Minister of Information, that paper is out 3 times a week. Vandala is here, he could confirm it. The Minister of Information press briefing we're talking about was either once a week or didn't happen at all. There's been no breach since we took over in making it 2 times a week, and sometimes, depending on demand from different sectors of the government, it goes more than that. For the first time in the history of the entity, we run a magazine, New Liberia magazine, that is run on a quarterly basis. We had a challenge with the Liberia News Agency because of the situation we have with Kwame Weeks. We found a way to resolve it, take away what you wanted to take away. The new team came there. The bulletin, the Lena bulletin, everybody receiving it. So we pull lasting out of these things. And currently what the team is doing is we're going back to the concept of wanting to have a strategic communication strategy which is being developed. I'm just worried, and a little bit afraid, if I should say, that it will be done, and then when it comes to the costing aspect, we have to say rest in peace again. I hope not. But that's what the truth is. And I was telling Stanton before you came, because of how we've expanded the media landscape, even getting across the different media entities is a challenge. To the extent that some people would think intentionally, you've chosen where you want to go. Oh, you want to come to Spoon, you want to go to ERBC, you want to go there, you don't want to come to the other station. Because just going to all of them alone, even if it would take a whole year, you will not complete, because there's so many. But that's what we have to do. We have to find ways to engage all of them because the audiences are different. We continue to do so. We endeavor to do so. But just realize we're human beings. And sometimes you say the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. That's what we face with sometimes. But there's no leaning back. We know this is what we have to do. Even if they give up money, then give up money. For example, when I took over the ministry, and I would just say this for the record, and Vandela went there a couple of times, when it rains, everywhere leaking. Everywhere. All building, dilapidated. Just a week and a half ago, we have to change the entire roof. Change it in a way that it will take the next 60 years before that place leaks. Because we use the long aluminum zinc from SETI, brother, change the entire roof. It's brand new. It's brand new. We have to plan to transform it completely. We have not had the resources. We have ensured that even as we have completed the roof, we're going to paint the entire building, change some of the windows. But here's the good news about our effort. In the draft national budget, the government listened to my plea that this building is falling. Not allow it to fall over people and kill them. So they've budgeted for it, meaning it's a funding that will be easily assessed and the building will be transformed. That's what they call the PSRP, public sector investment, because it's a government property. As you fix it, tomorrow Jerome PI is gone, that building is there. It's owned by the government. The maintenance of public buildings in our country is a challenge. And so when I went and saw that building built in 1961 or 62, one of the two, and it has not been able to go on any structural adjustment, I felt personally obligated to make sure that even if I stay in the Ministry of Information for 1 year, that situation should change before I leave. And Vandera knows that. The
Jerry, let me hold you there. We got more questions.
Emma team is Stanton. What kind of man you have?
That's your listen.
Well, look, let me just say
hold on 1 minute. Minister Pierre, please do not call Vandana name on the show. He will want to respond whenever you call his name.
You let him, man.
He will want to respond, and I have to control that. So please don't call his name. But I
don't let me on the show. I know you don't like me. I accept it. No problem. Let you go ahead. No problem.
I want us to move on to the other conversation because of time. We got 60 minutes to spend again. It will take us to 11 o'clock, so we got 60 more minutes with you. Let's talk about the president program today. A lot of folks were asking me, and I think Spoon covered it. Talk to us about the STEM program. And how would this benefit Liberians? What would be some of the downsides to this? Talk to us, please.
Yes, Stanton. I mean, good question. You know, we run a number of universities in the country. We also normally find time to send people abroad for studies. We've not had emphasis on the area of the sciences. Vandana, Patrick, myself went to school. We go waste our time. We go study public administration. They go back to the country. People looking for engineers. They're looking for people in the area of technology. They're looking for mathematicians. We short on those. Very short on those. The sociologists are many. The accounting people, when graduation taking place in all the schools, those are the people that take the highest number. So all the engagement the president has been doing, coming abroad, something that some people criticize. We have engaged earlier this group called Nicotech. And Nicotech invests heavily in helping countries to train people in the STEM programs. STEM means science, engineering, technology, and math, right? You want to train people in those areas. So what were they able to do?
So it's a science, technology, engineering, and math, right? Okay.
Yeah, correct. So what were they able to do? They formed a 25 million non-collateral loan. What is the loan going to do? Recruit students, they come into America, train them in the different disciplines under the STEM program. It's 2 years to get a master's degree. After the 2 years, what the program requires is that those students will stay in America and enrolled in a practical program that will allow them to work for 3 years, meaning the whole process is a 5-year process. 2 years in the classroom, they give you a degree in engineering, in something that has to do with technology, in something that has to do with mathematics, and then after the 3 additional years of working in the US, the goal is you must return. When the Americans are laying emphasis on that we got to ensure that when the people have their capacity built in this way, they will go back home. So the first set of the people to benefit will be 250 Liberians. When they send them, the school fee is paid. Their living expense, as they call it, what the school in America for that 2 years is paid for. And then as they get enrolled in the job aspect of it, they will make between 60 to 100,000 per annum. At that point, it is assumed you should be able to take care of yourself. You will not be getting additional payments. But in the end, we've trained these numbers of people in the STEM area. That's what was launched today. Money available because the non-collateral loan is already granted. So it is an intentional and deliberate investment in the sciences, since many of us maybe enjoying the political landscape, want to be doing political science, sociology, and all these things. Something is intentionally targeted at encouraging young Liberians into the science area, because these are all sciences, whether it's engineering, whether they are all sciences, because the country needs that the most. The whole world is getting technological. We've been behind. We're not training people to step up to that challenge. The country is backward.
So who's paying on this loan, Jeremy?
So it would be the country. But yeah, it's a good thing. From J.J. Rawat time, we've been taking loan. We still bidding roll. We're doing it.
Which country?
Huh?
Which country will be paying back the loan?
The country that will pay the loan?
Yes, sir.
The loan has been given to Liberia. It will be our obligation to pay.
Okay, so because
but a
it's
good
very
thing,
important that we ask. Hold on, we'll go there because I think it's a good program.
yeah.
But the catch here is, let's talk about the money, and the money is in. That's what the devil is, and that's
Bring
why
on.
our brother, how you call him, the one you took from us, that will be working for you in France. His name is Fadiga. That's why you always used to
I
say,
told somebody from you.
yeah, you took Fadiga from us. That's why he used to say the devil is in the details. So let's talk about the money, and then we'll go to Dr. Richardson, Abatuba, and the rest of the guys. How much is the money? And this money will be on Liberia to pay back. So how much is the money again?
25 million.
25 million.
Yeah.
All right. And I just want us to register. We're talking, it's a good thing, it's education. The students are 250, you said?
There'll
250.
there'll be additional ones, but that's the first batch.
That will be additional what?
There'll be additional beneficiary, but that's the first batch.
250.
Yes, sir.
And the loan that Bureau will be having will be 25 million.
25 million. Correct.
Dr. Richardson, let's get to it, man.
On the surface, the program sounds like an excellent program, something that would benefit any country. In the stipulation, is there anything that require this batch of students to return and contribute to Liberia for a certain amount of time? And also, why? I mean, there's other basic needs like carpentry, plumbing, electricity, and all of those things that would take less time for them to complete and don't have to work in the United States and return back home. Because I can tell you, a degree in STEM is very attractive even in this country. The possibility of those students going home and a company not taking them from Liberia and giving them all the papers is very high. Let me just put that out there.
So, but the truth is, the places where they were studied, they already lay emphasis on the fact that
Something happened. I'm not hearing you. It's frozen.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's the internet. Damo, can you hear us? All right. Then give him a few seconds and he will be back. I think it's a good program, like you said. Adopt after 5 years, and one of the students will return. If you finish, like Mr. Eduardo, he making $210,000 a year. And if you get an offer like Mr. Eduardo, how will you want to go back to Liberia? But
I guess only important to say, Senator, about that thing. I hope he gets to me when he gets back.
Yeah, the internet is.
I believe that program is going to hurt Liberia heavily. But then you come back with something.
Yeah, everybody will have their own to say. They are reconnecting now. I see them reconnecting, so you will come back. But guys, let's try to save time. One question each that we can go to the House of Representatives. They are suing each other. They called Thomas Father for investigation. Thomas Father called them for investigation. Now you have time to be your child's play. So I hope we can have the time to discuss it. Again, I know we don't have enough time, but Jerry, let me I want to talk about the yellow machine, where we are. The yellow machine story been quiet for a while. What's the last funding on it? We saw that folks went to South Africa. They came back from $84 million is now under 20 million. So the negotiation is in the interest of Liberia. And who's handling the negotiation? We need to ask your limit here. And the road condition while we enter the dry season is very, very also interesting. So guys, bear with us. The minister will be back. He is coming back. And then we'll continue with the show. Please share the show. And please, your comment is very, very important. We'd love to have your comment. And then that we all can proceed accordingly. Know that the time have changed. So our show will be running a little bit late. 8:30 will be the new time in Liberia. Please, please, please rest assured that we will have show every single day. I can see Jeremy Pierre in the back. The minister, he take Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to Grand Bassa County. Like I said, he's trying to run. So he preparing and he laying the groundwork. Oh, yeah, he come. Don't tell him I said that, please. Let me bring in Dama. Are you with us? Can you come up for us to hear the minister? Please do not tell him I said that. Please, Dr. Bupler, don't tell him. Mr. Minister, go ahead. We can hear you.
Yeah, so we went off on this end, but so what I was saying is that special emphasis is being laid on the fact that this is an investment in the country. They don't intend to see people who will benefit from this program. 2 years, you get a master's degree, you got an additional 3 years of real work experience, and then all of a sudden you hang. And the country does not benefit. So part of the arrangement will be making transitioning to be almost impossible. Meaning, if you choose not to come back, because everybody's name will be there, the system will capture you, and all of a sudden you feel benefiting, you won't go back and say, "I am America, I'm going back, I'm going to readjust my state and remain here." It will not work. You get frustrated, you have to jump out because you got to come back. It's a goal of the investment. Don't forget, Stanton, I'm saying it's a loan. So it is an obligation on us. And I believe, for me, I believe it's one of the best loans ever. Look at all the debt the country
Can you
owed.
send us the company information again, the institution? Can you send us something that we can show our audience, please? We're backing you because when you say loan, it is from
your boy is so smart. He published the information. You see it on your page, home page.
Okay, Damo, can you put it up, please? Because what they do in my brother, I got nothing. Damo, can you put it up? And what? Yeah, Damo, please, can you put it up? And also, we need to just understand. Just give the guys a chance to ask the question. Is it totally based in Canada or America, or both places?
All right, so I think why he put I saw just America, but I know I was talking to the foreign minister today after the launch, and she mentioned 2 countries. She said America and Canada. So I guess it's those 2 places.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bupler. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
not Dr. Bupler. Abba, Dr. Bupler, hold on. Let's go in order, please, sir. Abba, you come in with your one question, please. Isaac Va? The internet is as if I look like.
Maybe you're regrouping.
Yeah.
All right, so let me bring in Dr. Bupler. Dr. Bupler, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so I had a clarification and I want to ask the minister a question. So,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Minister, did I hear you say that, and by the way, the STEM programs are a great program, but did I hear you say that each participant will be, you said something to that effect. Can you clarify what you're really saying?
So what I was saying is that according to the program plan, after your 2 years of study where you awarded your master's degree, the second phase of the program is that you will find a job, whether it's in America, in Canada, to work. When you are working, your salary per annum will be between 60 to 100,000. Meaning it could be 60,000, it could be 65,000, it could be 70. But in between those figures.
Who will pay the salary?
The places they will be employed.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes. The places they will be employed.
So there is a experience-based component.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. And that's part of the agreement. That's not part of our $25 million. It's not extended.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And there'll be strong commitment letters, whatever covenant signed with these presidents, that after you study and you do
Yeah.
your thing, you will come back home to your
Gotta go
country.
back. Yeah. You gotta go back home.
All right, thank you.
But there's another caveat which they're telling us already, and we gotta work on it. Because it's one thing to tell the people, say, after all that experience, come back home. And it's another thing to come back home, you don't have work for them to do.
Right.
So it's a double-edged kind of situation that as a government, we gotta be focused on not just wanting them to come home,
Right.
to ensure that they are useful when they come.
But we think that when you make that kind of human capital investment to that extent, you're
Yeah.
prepared to absorb them so that they can use the skill to help the government.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Boble. Abba, are you with us now?
I was before, but anyway,
You
Minister,
stay there. You stay there.
talking about this is kind of like a diaspora program. We have discussed, in different circles, some alternatives to those kind of training, right? Where
Benefited before is our first time they got their own conditionality attached, and everything I said to you is a result of the condition they set for. Is it also a good thing that you can have other sources of revenue to do something, but it will not be fitted into this program because everything about this program is like almost cast in stone. And if you are a beneficiary, you got to go by the structure that they put in place because that's what they go for. And because they're not just providing you training, these sciences are not things that you can easily master doing virtual learning. That's what they insist, that you must be in the classroom, it must be for 2 years, the solid learning process, they grant you your master degree, then they put you through this rigorous practical stuff of working so that you are not just out of the classroom for 2 years of a master program, you move into the practicality, and then it makes you a wholesome person in those technological and scientific areas. Before you say, okay, go back to your country, because the goal is to build a capacity that does not exist in your country. But like I said, the caveat I was saying, and it's fair to do so, because look at the time frame of their study. If they went in that 5-year period, you could have a new administration. Will the administration be committed to ensuring
and that's true. I like the idea, and it costs us
Let's
only
keep it, let's
20,000
keep
per
it
person
on.
for that 5
Let's
years.
keep,
So that's good.
Correct.
so the name is Nekotech, Nicotech.
Yeah,
All right,
Nicotech.
we're gonna upload it for folks to see. Let's get to our brother from Della Patrick, Mr. Dualu, and Paul Kennedy on this Nicotech. And actually, who brought it in the country? Where are they from? Are you really informed? I mean, it seems to be that you're not part of it holistically, Jeremy Pierre.
So this was something spearheaded by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Education. It is something that has been worked on for a couple of months, trying to qualify us for, to benefit and to get enrolled. And what took place today, the guys who are the source of the funding were part of the launching. I said that they were there virtually. So they were on screen, they made their remarks, they gave some in-depth information about the program. They provided all of the information. The president was there. His work was just to formally launch it, which he did. All of the technical details and information that were required by the program was given by the Nicotech people. They were doing it virtually. They were online. So yes, probably if we did much deeper conversation around it, maybe one of these days I can ensure that the education minister, for example, appear here or any other place to talk deep, because they are it's about education, but because it also earlier required foreign engagement, and that's where the collaboration of the two entity, foreign affairs and education, but the main player being the honorable or Her Excellency the Minister of Foreign Affairs. She really put in the time, she worked, she did all the international engagement.
Yeah, we're gonna reach out to Sarah on this one, Mr. Beslow, because again, like I said, I don't want us to jam you, but let allow for Della Patrick, Mr. Eduardo, and Paul to bring in the question.
Yeah, so Stanton, I sincerely disagree with this loan is going to benefit. There's no guarantee that those that will benefit to go abroad, they will come back. Statistics are proving that even people who are not even getting loan, they leave from here to go to Ghana or America, they don't come back. One more about taking a Liberian who was born, experienced poverty, living in poverty, goes to America, goes to Canada, and they have an opportunity to live there, and you want to bring them back. This is fake. This is not going to work. I can guarantee you, if you take 250,000 students from here, or 250 students, you carry them abroad where they see America and Europe like heaven, and while they are there on internship and the country is corrupt, every day they're hearing news of police eating chicken and they're fighting, they're breaking their heads, and government officials are looting state resources, and the economy is high. Stand on, sit down and ask this minister. Nobody will be willing to come back. This thing is going to fail. This is DOA, there on arrival. We will have expected that this $250 million will be used to invest in our economy. Get some of the most brilliant
25 million.
25 million. Get some of the best experts to Europe, America, and that of Canada, where these people will go. Modernize our laboratories, the STEM program. You know why it will benefit? If you bring 2 persons to teach, almost about 100 persons will benefit. And at the end of the day, you get ECOWAS, you get African Union. We must model our teaching program to our culture and tradition. I went to school in the US. Many of the things I learned in the US, I'm not utilizing it yet. Do we want our people to come here and be confused? This loan is a flop. It's a shame on this government. And that's why I always say this is a rascal mission. They only came here to steal. When they take 250 students from here, none of them will come. That's why the UN embassy states that many Liberians that leave to go in the United States, they don't come. That's why many of you don't have visa. Some are auto breaks to learn abroad and come back. Even as you come back, people are resisting us because of what we have. We have a culture here. Look, Mr. Minister, with all due respect, I know you are a good man. I know you. But you work in a system that is corrupt, that is not thinking. So you are paying for sin that you did not commit. I'd like to rest here.
I think we'll give the minister a chance to respond and we'll go to Mr. Duarte.
So you see, that's part of Liberia's problem. Vendela Patrick went to Harvard. He went back to Liberia, he didn't run away. His colleagues will be given the opportunity to also come in that same space of America, not necessarily Harvard like he did. He's already condemning them before they can even start. This is the country's problem. We want to shine. When the opportunity comes for others to shine, we push them down in the name of politics. All he said about rascal mission, this mission, that mission, just the same political rhetoric that is so detached from what we're discussing here. You have not invested anywhere in STEM education as a country. For the first time in the history of the country, you have a foreign minister, agile, outreaching, working tirelessly, bringing a program that should benefit young Liberians that you people you say you cared about, who are not going to Harvard, but they will come to some of the best scientific schools to be trained in something that be more relevant than what you myself learn at Harvard Public Administration. You casting them down. You spoke the way you spoke. Yes, it's your right. You're entitled to it. That's why you think it is your thought process versus what we will do. We are very confident about what is being pursued. We think it will succeed. And that's what I said, you're not listening. You're coming to people's country. You say you run away. They've raised those concerns, therefore we're working with them. So much so that when you intend to run away, you will fight that you can say you are splinter, you are tire, you will not get adjustment. What would be the use of you remaining there? The only option you will have is to come to where you were trained for. So yes, you talk loans. Look at when we had the debt waiver process during the HIPAA process. $4 billion you were indebted to. You look across your country, you saw anything across that country are looking at $4 billion debt that was invested in that country. and somebody wants to directly invest in the people, some of whom are not benefited from anything before. And what you do is an attempt to shut it down and call it an act of criminality. That's what we do. But we believe in what we're going into. All right? We believe it will work. We believe it will benefit the country. Vendetta party will not be the only half of man. Other people will be trained in STEM. They'll be educated. They'll be smart.
Thank you.
They will impact the country.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman Pierre, Mr. Duadu, and the Paul candidate.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Welcome to the audience. We late these days. Honorable PR, thank you so much for coming. This is a different perspective, and I hope you take it with a grain of salt. Don't see it as a criticism. This is empirical. Almost 20 years ago, when I was leaving graduate school, we had my master's thesis was on quality control in Japan. The Japanese done that. This is empirical, by the way. A lot of countries that are very poor, when they send their people abroad, we've tried this in the 1960s in Liberia. We tried in the 1970s and 1980s. People did not return. The Japanese realized in the 1920s they were really struggling to regroup their country. There's something in Japan today called the Demings War. It was actually William Edward Demings, the Demings Award, Quality Control in Japan. And there's a book, and they realized they were spending so much money to educate one student to become a doctor in America. And most of these doctors did not really return. So the Japanese reversed course. They came to American universities and said, listen, Dr. Brooklyn, you're making $100,000 to a Japanese university. So instead of Dr. Brooklyn getting a PhD in America, one PhD, they brought 2 PhDs from America, and they provided 10 PhDs in Liberia, and they built the infrastructure locally. So what the Japanese started doing, they started reverse engineering the camera system. In fact, in the 1970s, most of the Japanese were considered junk as we think about the Chinese today. Gradually, the Demings Award, because they reversed the professorship, they did not send the students abroad. They brought the professors to Liberia. So if you took one professor from America, you give him $250,000, he will be willing to come to Liberia and train 10 pediatricians instead of you training 1 pediatrician in America. Why aren't we adopting that approach? Well, we're adopting something that we know we're in it with all certainty that it's going to fail. And it's failed before, it's failed continuously. Yeah, we're doing the same thing, Honorable Minister.
So your perspectives are respected, and I like the dignified way you said it. You didn't call anybody criminal because they're doing something you disagree with. You didn't call people rascal days. You know, not the normal political noise and political jargon that must be part of every discussion. You know, so I respect your perspective, and I'm not sure I have any argument about it. This was an initiative, undertaking, led by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Minister of Education. They have done all their own studies, their own assessment. They proposed to the administration that this was something that was doable, and we've reached the level we've reached. We have failed because of the analysis you gave that others failed. I don't know. Do I disagree with you that we should have done it the other way around, bring professor in and do? Not necessarily, but this is where we are, and we want to move in the way with optimism, with some level of confidence that it can be different. I mean, until you try something, you instead of using just things of the past and say because this thing didn't work in this place or it was done in the past, it didn't work, therefore it can't work at all. I think we want to just shy away from that perspective, even respecting those opinions of yours as we move on. But having said that, quickly, Stanton, I beg you, I want you to just take note. I've always told you where I live is after 11. I got to, before I reach, it'll be after 1.
You got one more person to ask you.
You play fun, boy. Walk on by.
The man scared.
Minister Pierre, nothing happened to you. You know Manuela in out. Don't fool or yeah. In the night when you change that white shirt to a black shirt, you.
And you got police you.
I will have to be at the national Thanksgiving service tomorrow.
Yeah, so we're gonna just take Paul Kennedy again.
Yeah. And my question will be really quick. President Salif sent about 10 students in the U.S. A couple of my friends were part of that. They were here in Baltimore, Maryland. actually going to school. I think the scholarship was given by Strayer University. One of the presidents there was working with Liberian government. Most of those students did not go back, right? Like the United States is not like China, where the people control your passport and run behind you to send you. I can guarantee you, when you bring me here, I say I'm not going back. Nothing absolutely you can do to me. All I need to do, you can have my passport if you want. Then I just change my address and you never find me again. I'm not a pessimist to say what is going on, but we lost the opportunity when President Salif sent over 10 students here to sit here in Baltimore to go to school, to Strayer University online. And I think that program cost us almost $12 million. That's $12 million that could have revamped the University of Liberia, put a lot of the video, visual, educational system. I know students, I know professors here who want to come to volunteer to teach in Liberia system. But my question to you, Mr. Minister, don't you think we'll be missing on an opportunity instead of building the STEM program from the fundamental stage, which includes high schools to first degree, then just giving a master's degree holder a more managerial role in STEM instead of giving them the actually technical engineering capacity from the high school to the university on that 25 million? Because that's a debt burden that comes to the country. When we take 25 million, we're going to pay, our children going to pay, maybe even our children. So don't you think it's a missed opportunity, Mr. Minister? I mean, just from that perspective.
It's a good debt burden. I mean, we pay for $4 billion in debt. We don't see any trace of why it did for the country. So if we worry about a debt burden that goes into developing some of the young people who've been left behind consistently, who politicians have used in one political cycle after the other to push their agenda, and after that they remain what they are. If a debt burden comes about because we invested in them, it's a good debt burden. You will see them, they were trained, they have those credentials, they have the experience, as compared to looking back and they tell you, say this country was once owing $4 billion and you don't see any. You had a debt of $4 billion, and a small country that is still not connected by road or across. You can't travel to some part of the country because you're in rainy season, but yet you took debt of $4 billion that we pay. So yes, all your concerns are welcome. People got the right to be pessimistic about this kind of thing. From the government perspective, I think we are more like optimistic. We don't want to downplay it because it's an investment in the young generation, many of whom have been used and done, the political condoms. We can take the risk on them. If we don't get
there's only example you have to give.
If we don't give accountability of it, is fine compared to $4 billion. You can see no trace of it in the country everywhere that mud road. So that if it's a gamble, let's take the gamble. The gamble of investing in the young people of our country, I think it's a good gamble to undertake.
Let me say this. Let me put it up real quick. Honorable Minister, it's good having you. We are not going to hold you any further. This is Nicotech, Center of Excellence. Again, let me say this to you. I think it's something to try, but Liberians out there want to know more. So we will be reaching out to the Education Minister and the Foreign Minister, Sarah Baslow. I think, listen, you will not have it both ways 100%. You have folks like Mo Ali, Stephen Johnson, folks that the government sent out. They came back, they're in the country. But to say we have all 250 of them returning, no, it will not happen. But to try this program, and I went through this program, to try, I think it's so important for us to give it a try. Now, we can cross our T's, we can argue about its application, who would benefit, and how, and all these things is necessary. So I must applaud the president on this one, right? 25 million, let's say it'll be a big money loan on the government, but 250 plus people leaving our country to go to Canada, to come to the United States and other places. Don't be so bad on your fellow Liberians. Like, you receive this education on government sweat. Give them the chance too. And those that will be willing to go back, and we encourage them to return, to give back to the country. That should be our own way to help our country. So, Mr. Minister, it's good to have you here. We saw the picture on the page, right? In Sierra Leone. Bill, he receiving $100 million from the same program.
Correct.
Okay, go on the page and check it out. Bill is receiving $100 million. So if they're trying to give us 25 million, and I will say this, it may be to be a big money on the country, but to have 250 students, let's try it. But I will say this to you, through you, and for Sarah and the education minister, I think this should help us understand better and even more. Not only one press conference, they should say how the application. So we will call them. But I'm all in this program, and I'm seriously all in. We will investigate further, but I think the ministers then should come out and make it better for us to understand. Mr. Minister, thank you for coming. Just because you're Dr. Poplar, I will give you the last word on this one.
Thank you.
Go.
I beg you, let me ask you. Let me tell you.
So, Honorable Minister, is it too late to tweak this program? Dwalu makes an excellent point. The thing about human capital investment is that when we invest in our people and we bring back to the country and we don't have the infrastructure for them to maximize what they learn, is it too late? This is a good chunk of money. We can do piece and piece. You can send some people and then you can start investing in laboratories, because this is science, technology, engineering, math, so that we're not in the same place.
Are you hearing us, Mr. Minister? No, he's not hearing you, Dr. Poplar. Let's wait for him to hear us. Mr. Minister, are you hearing us? Can you put a headset on, Dama? Can you put a headset on? But while he's trying to hear us, Dr. Poplar, I think this is a loan from that group of people. We can find another group out there that can bring the Japanese and the Chinese in the country, and But I think if you read through the program, they are only there to take your student out of the country. Go on the website and read the program.
Well,
they will not share this 25 million. No, with Nicotech, for you to say what I would say, the people should come in your country to train your folks. With this program, it doesn't work that way. That's why I'm saying to you.
It's a loan. We can determine how it's.
It's a loan. It's a loan.
So you want to control your 25 million loan.
Yeah, but some at 25 million.
Vendetta. Yeah. Stanton, before I leave, let me just say this. I stick to the fact.
Minister, why you mention my name?
No, I just made a mistake. I said Stanton.
Yeah, thank you. Please, let me mistake.
Don't be have an argument here, man. Just leave that to me. Look, we quit to forget as a people. We took the scene 25 million. You're talking about Bandara fee. It would break the whole country down. You took 25 million. You say you're doing mobile exercise. We see no here and there. 1.25 million in the people, in the young people.
You gotta go and sleep. You gotta go home.
Can I just suggest something to the minister?
But no, Stanton, let me make clarity here.
But wait, Dr. Richards was speaking. You cannot interrupt the lady. She was speaking. I beg you, sir.
Well, okay, let me say, I'm sorry, Mama. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I actually had a suggestion about the appointees, and recently I know they appointed, if I'm saying her name correctly, Madeline Dokosat to the Ministry of Commerce. We were struggling in the chat room trying to find some information about her. Most places that I'm aware of work for, they will announce their appointees and tell you the history. Say this person becomes with a wealth of experience in XYZ, they will contribute to the ministry by XYZ and stuff like that. But when we do our appointees, I don't see nothing. And so I wanted to suggest. Say that again?
It's in the Zobu. You will never find it.
Oh, well, I think if we're
going to call Kula, you are quite correct. We'll call Kula for her to expand.
I don't know that Kula, the minister or whoever, but just to.
It's Kula Fufana. She put out those nomination and appointments. You are quite correct. But let's do this real quick, guys, because we're out of time. I want us to just squeeze in the House of Representatives back and forth document who sued who, why they suing who. I mean, are you guys not tired? That's what Rich is saying. They called how you call him for investigation. They said no, we will not honor your request. Now they went back again and called, say, yeah, we will call you for investigation. Thomas Farah calling Speaker Fonati Kofa for investigation. Then some of Fonati Kofa folks calling Thomas Father for investigation. So now you told my own, I told your own, everybody just busting each other's secret. That's the richest thing. It's a whole mess now.
It sure is. And this is why from the onset I said it's important for the Supreme Court to step in, be precise, be effective. But they are downplaying their role and saying, "Oh, we only here to, work as a branch of government. We can't interfere." When definitely there's check and balance in the system, And so if somebody does not do anything about our country, we are it's on a downfall. I can just tell you that right now, downfall. That's all I can say. And we just gotta, do whatever many people believe in prayers. If that's what you believe in, do it. Hopefully, something will happen. But
yeah, you're quite correct. Let me bring you in, Vandella Patrick. They did back and forth, man. It becomes a bit childish right now, and a lot of people losing. Like they were saying yesterday, passive nauseousness. Democrat were using that word, and each time one state for, they say we are passive nauseous. So now, but finally, we are not. We have thrown up, and we got what we got. So, Vandella Patrick, the issue of that place, man, they lost the investigation that have been called for by Fonati Group. Now, Thomas Father Group calling for investigation too. The Supreme Court step in and say, "Y'all take your stuff from here. We're not grant you what you asked for. You'll go back and fix it. It's rare. You'll go back to status quo and fix your situation." So where are you? And this guy is saying they're going to expel Marvin Cole. They're going to call for the investigation. If it's not honored, they're going to kick them up. Now Marvin Cole guys are also saying, "No, we'll remain in our chamber. You cannot take us out." So from there, talk to us.
So see, you conducted an opinion poll on this platform, and 65% of your followers on this show, that is considered one of the biggest platforms, they said the rule of law is the best way forward. For the three lawmakers, they got 35%. That tells you the people who listen to this show, who have followed you, and the opinions expressed by all the panelists here, they still believe that the rule of law is the best way to go. You see groups of individuals willfully and intentionally trying to undermine this president. If you are a member of the rescue mission, tonight when you go to bed, pray for JMB. If you should win election in 2029, let me tell you, 2029 election is now. What you see here, when JMB took power, we handed him 3 branches of government. Very fortunate. There were no hulubalu. In less than 1 year, you cannot govern a country. It speaks volumes of incompetence. It speaks volumes of lack of unity. It speaks volume of disgruntled behavior on the part of individuals who are supposed to subscribe to the rule of law. What I see now, I actually limit here. Friday, this president is supposed to submit the budget. He should have submitted it, last Tuesday. Say, well, I want 1 week. What are you doing so much that you have to delay the submission of our budget? So much. What are you doing? You should have planned long time ago to be on time. When you delay in the submission of the budget, the citizens will suffer. Teachers will not take pay on time. You see the reason why people are struggling? AFL can't get paid. The other people can't get paid. Civil servant can't get paid because when the budget is delayed in a submission,
you just confirmed and said all of them got paid. Said they got paid.
No, I said 65 spending entities from my own background investigation have been processed and sent to commercial banks. But because it went late, commercial bank will have to process it to individual bank accounts. From there, then the people will start
You
receiving.
didn't say because it went late. Because
No,
when the
it went
minister
late.
here, you said it. Get the money. All right, but go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
That was the issue. You're not bringing it up. So as I conclude, CEO, I am ashamed of my country. We are degenerating into chaos gradually. The old people say, Christian can start in clean clothes. Gradually, notice. The people who are supposed to give them that approbation, that approval to invest, they are in constitutional crisis. Who wants to bring their 20 million, 100 million, 300 million to invest where the lawmakers are supposed to sign that consensual agreement? They are in serious constitutional crisis. I am sorry for my people. I want them to see reason. And this is where you, me, all the panelists, after we discuss, let's give some recommendations to the public, to our leaders, so they will listen.
Thank you for that, Patrick. And you say you're very, very ashamed, you're tired, you're frustrated, as evidenced by
the main project is not equal wrong.
Dama, what the man video? Dama, why you took the video off?
You want to regroup?
Dama, so
Patrick, where are you going, sir? Patrick, where are you going? Okay, so Patrick is saying he's going to regroup. Patrick is going to regroup. Patrick is leaving that. I'm sorry for that.
But interestingly, CEO. But our school group is called Read Group. I told the one from the people. You notice that?
I saw it.
School Read Group. So
yeah, I saw it.
And you know that you the one brought the word, right?
I saw it. But
so the speech chat room is called Spoon Read Group.
Oh man,
so
let's ask you about the accusation.
But let me move on real quick to say this. We're going to Mr. Duadu. Actually, some of the issue that Fandela is raising is concerning when you talk about the House of Representatives. The back and forth, man. I mean, the people are getting concerned. Mr. Duadu.
Hello, Stanton. And Cynthia Williams, whatever you're saying on the thread, if it is true, send me the information. I'm not going to mention the representative's name, but if somebody's sleeping with underage children, it's a serious issue. I want to say this, though, Stanton. Look, I don't want to talk about these representatives. We've spoken about them back and forth, and they continue to only focus on themselves. What I want to say here is I want to speak a little bit briefly, if you allow me my time, on the issue of those students going abroad to study. Because for me, this is pertinent to the institutions in the country. If we're going to strengthen the institutions in the country, we have to make some commitment to the very institutions that we're trying to strengthen in Liberia. It's not going to be fixed overnight. We have to localize, indigenize our expertise. There is nothing wrong with going overseas. Other countries have done it, but what they have done is Vanessa Patrick graduates with a chiropractor degree in Liberia. He comes and does a 2-3 month stunt to improve his expertise. He comes back to the country. If you're removing people out of the country, and people say, oh, you're in America, you want to go to America too. This is not the point. The point here is, if we don't strengthen locally, we are not going to grow. It's not going to work. There is no freaking way that Asif Atupa will stay in Liberia in abject poverty, and you send Dwalu to America, and Dwalu just going to leave because he's supposed to go do a patriotic duty. Tobo did this. Tubman did this. Dole done this. We've replicated this 1,000,000 times. It has not worked. Can we try something else? This is my argument tonight. This is my argument. Cynthia, send me that information if it is true.
Paul?
Yeah, look, like Dwalu, because if this is a scholarship, on opportunity from foreign government to our country, I wouldn't say a word about it, right? But this is a loan that my children are going to have to pay back. And when I have to pay something back, or my children have to pay something back, I mean, it's only fair to ask, you know, what benefit, what is the knowledge transfer in this? The last time, 2013, 30,000 students took a test. All of them failed in math and science at the University of Liberia. 30,000. And Double Jala is the one who administered that test. All of them failed. It speaks about the science foundation we have. This program is a great program. It's so good because it fills a niche of our country. It fills a fundamental area that the country needs. Science and technology. The Liberians are not doing very well in science, mathematics, engineering, and technology. So when I hear about this kind of program, I'm elated. I'm really excited that we are taking a loan for this kind of program. But could we be looking to see how we could re-engineer the program so that it benefits Liberians? And don't get me wrong, the 200 people who are coming are Liberians also, but they are taking loan that I'm going to pay back. What if they don't come back? Liberia has the lowest visa issuance rate in the world right now amongst few countries, because most of the Liberians who are coming to the US, whether they are coming as government officials or coming on visit, most of them don't return. That's the conversation the ambassadors and other people in the embassy are telling us. We're asking them, why are you denying Liberian visa? They say, but look at the rate. They are coming and not going back. Last year alone, 5,917 visas were issued. Only 113 people went back. I mean, non-immigrant B1 and B2 visas. So the issues are glaring. People would take the money and they will come and get educated, especially somebody who start making 50, 60, maybe even $100,000 here. They will comfortably just quit their job and come back to Liberia, where government will not even be able to accommodate them. So could we take the 25 million and spread it around, strengthening BWR, strengthening Tubman University in Maryland, strengthening the University of Liberia, the agriculture and science and technology programs? Could we look into going into high school like Tubman had to improve the science department there? What can be done with this 25 million is the question I'm asking, because I'd like the name that is money, but it is the money that we have to pay back. So when you see me asking the question and really trying to speak towards the CEO, don't get me wrong. I brought 6 persons to the United States. You think I don't? If I had a means, I would bring everybody from Liberia here. But don't do it at the detriment of somebody who comes and doesn't go back and have to pay that money back. When I hear your poor candidate, you don't want people to come to the U.S.
Thank you, Paul.
I don't know what you are saying.
Thank you, Paul Kennedy.
So we have to pay this money back.
Thank you, Paul Kennedy. Like I said, I think more explanation will come up, and I will reach out to the Foreign Minister Sarah Beslow and the Education Minister, that they will be able to explain further on this. I think the start up the initial conversation is in the right direction. You know, if our children, our brothers and sisters, would benefit from this $25 million loan, I think it's a good thing. Now we can go and, you know, do all our little question and answer and make sure that it's very clear and transparent. That is necessary. But the step that this is for the Liberian people, students, to travel outside of darkness, outside of poverty, I can learn something that to me is great, it's unique. And I hope we will learn more on this thing, and the folks, Liberian students, will be able to help themselves. I've really feel the pain for the student and the way in which they are, you know, getting their education in the country. To me, this is a great opportunity, but we need to understand better. Guys, let's close this show. It's good having you, and it's good having everybody. Tonight, I'm calling no representative because I want to go in peace. I'm not calling any representative. I think it's only necessary to allow ourselves to do our own closing. So let's hear from you, as if you go ahead. Let's close the show, my brother.
Thank you. One thing I wanted to ask the minister, and I never got the chance to, was the whole situation with the Diaspora Liberian annual return. I know the Ministry of Information is really involved in that, along with the Ministry of um, Foreign Affairs, led by this guy from the president's office, Erasmus Williams, I think. And I think it's a wonderful thing. I think they need to highlight it a little bit more, talk about it a little bit more, because the conversation and between diaspora and the people on the ground, there's some tension there in terms of how they are accepted. Many people from the diaspora feel like there's some distancing, like they're not welcome. And it would be wonderful if we can really resolve those things, some of the challenges, some of the perceptions that people have. And it goes both ways, because sometimes some of the people from the diaspora, the attitude they have towards people on the ground, it's just so disrespectful and just, condescending. And you wonder where they come from to have that kind of mindset towards fellow Liberians. But on the flip side, other people talk about insecurities. Other people talk about just giving them a run around, not wanting them to be involved because they probably come with maybe principles and where they want to do whatever stuff. So if that conversation could be broader, the discussion around it could be to the lowest level, if possible, where the grassroots people and people up at every level of our society, every stratification, can really get into those discussions so we can start to integrate. Because we can't move forward if we don't really integrate them. Who?
No, you're good. Thank you very much. Are you done? Thank you very much, Ava.
Just 1 second, another 10 seconds. So, I appreciate the minister coming on. The whole thing about the education thing, I think you got to do alternative analysis whenever you come and use the government money. You're using $25 million for a program. Do what other options are available that money could be more beneficial from both a qualitative and quantitative perspective for the people of Liberia. And in the absence of those, and we just focus on one thing and just do one thing without looking at other options, sometimes to our disadvantage. So hopefully they can look at other programs that could be more impactful and have more substantive, elevation of our educational system than just sending 250 or when 30, 40,000 people are just not learning anything of quality. Thank you.
Thank you, Ava. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Poplar, please.
So Stanton, to that same STEM thing, long time ago when I fled the war and started my new lease on life in Baltimore, I was a math teacher. And then I went on to Baltimore County and joined a magnet program. I was teaching computer programming. STEM has been around for a while, especially in developed countries. It's a good thing. But the power of STEM is that, one, it is a whole system. It's a program that's spread across the county, or the school district. Two, there are schools across the school district that have capacity for students to do well in science, technology, engineering, math. Three, in the case of the state of West Virginia, they encourage those students from high school, and if they do well in any of those things, their tuition is paid for university if you're going to do anything in science, technology, engineering. So I really like Dwalu's point. I did see from one of my good friends in the chat that this is a quote unquote managed loan. And that might be the case. It's a managed loan. And so the loaner have requirements, fine. But if that's the case, then I think our government should now allocate X number of extra dollars to build capacity. Because what you really want those students to come back and do and be leaders of STEM program in high schools all across the country. So they have a good lab here, they have a good math program here, at least 1 or 2 schools in every single county. Then you will maximize the output because they're coming back, they have decent pay, they have good capacity to begin to train others. So STEM becomes a thing where the country not only appreciates, but it starts to put out more and more people who come out in science and technology. So I just don't want it to be a one-sided thing where the investment of 25 million is not too big. For human capital, it's not too big. That's good money spent. But if you don't have part two in place, then yes, one, either a whole lot of people will stay to where they're going and not come back because they feel like, where am I going back to? You see? Or two, when they do come back, they get discouraged because they can't utilize what they've learned. So I think it's a great program. Just put the part two in place. If the loan can be restructured, fine. Get a few more dollars. Start now. County by county, county by county. There's at least 2 STEM schools in every county, high school level. Then it elevates to college. I think over time we'll see something extremely good because of what they're doing. So I applaud the government for the first step. Let's please make it a whole holistic thing so the country benefits the most.
Dr. Boblet, thank you very much. I'm going to bring in Dr. Richardson. Dr. Richardson, you want to close?
Yeah, I just want to also echo what Dr. Boblet said. In countries where STEM is well known and is yielding benefits, it's not just a master level thing. It starts from elementary school, even sometimes preschool. They put you on a track that you have to sort of succeed and meet certain requirements. And so that is building the foundation, like he said, and many are saying on this platform, for for students to succeed, moving forward from just going straight into a master program. And yeah, I want to agree with many who said that if you come here to this United States, where it is very much different, the amenities are different, the opportunities are different here in this country, to return would be a heck of a lot of problems, and it's not hard to do. I don't know if people are taking this into consideration. You can come here and you get married. There's nothing that stops anybody from getting married to change their status. You can come here and companies can have H visa for you if they really love you and you're doing a great work to keep you here, which is a concern that I would have. So there's so many ways in which a person can stay here and don't return to Liberia. I'm not saying that that's the right thing. I would want for people to return to Liberia and contribute, but that's just human nature. I also want to add, like, if they could also expand the program to some basic needs that are needed in our country. For example, plumbing, carpentry, mechanic. Those things, to me, I think are great needs in our country right now. They can get a few professor instructors from here to teach those things in our vocational programs in Liberia, and they'll be teaching many people, and it's not hard. It's a 1-2 year program, and at least that'll make our country, because I know there's a deficit. I see how things are built in our country. There's a deficit in those areas. So I don't know who's going to be on the STEM program, but I think it will be worthwhile for the Minister of Education or Information to come here and give the Liberian people, if you decide to go with this, information about the program. That's another thing. A lot of people saying, we don't know anything. We don't know how to apply. We don't know where to go to this program. Let this program not be kept top secret. Like I think my brother Fandela Patrick said, send a bushwhack on it. Certain people need to see it. And again, like, give us pros and cons. Tell us what you have explored. Say, like Abba said, what have been your analysis on these kind of programs? We're spending, 250 million, if I heard you right, on this program. And what have been your analysis?
It's 25 million. 25.
Yes, 25. That's still a lot of money in my cup of tea, in my world. $25 million. What has been your analysis? Tell the Liberian people, say we researched this, we did this, and we found that this is what making us to go to this direction. But we're not hearing everything. We just saying, take 25 million, pay for it, and that's what we have decided. That's what we found. Sierra Leone doing the same thing. Hey, the culture in Sierra Leone is so much different. Liberian people, the way we think, our mentality and what we need in our country is different. The war affected us differently. So we have to take the mentality and the culture of Liberia into consideration when we approach these programs. Yes, Nicotech will want $25 million. What company wouldn't want $25 million right now? It's good for them. How is it good for our country is all I'm asking. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Richardson. Thank you very much. Vandela, you want to close?
Yeah, CEO, let me start by saying I think the government needs to go right back and regroup and come back. But this $25 million loan is a flop. It's a disgrace. They should be ashamed. Whoever proposed this idea should be ashamed. In fact, we should not be talking about $25 million loan. On this platform, I have proposed, bring some of the best minds around the president. They can easily raise $50 million. I can guarantee you. I know Liberians, when you set up the system, bring like-minded individuals. Let me tell you, wealth is in the mind, not the physical catch. Open the doors. Some of the best minds, you don't have to like them. But because they can contribute to Liberia, bring them on board. I know they will raise not less than 50 million rather than subjecting the country to debt. You can raise that money. Somebody is talking. Let me just clarify. I did not go to Harvard because government sent me. I went there as a son of a rubber tapper. I took entrance. I sat interviews, my credentials, and I was accepted. 90% of people who went to that institution, they depleted state cover to go there. Scholarship is meant for scholars, not buffons. Many of them that went, 90%, government officials, they don't disclose. This 250 person you're talking about is stay in Zobuch. I am concerned about the recruitment process. One minister will call people my entity, especially you talk about Europe, America, and Canada, who doesn't want to go to good schools? The poor people, children will not benefit. I am a living testimony. I used to work with the National Investment Commission. Opportunity came, I presented my credentials and everything. They put me behind the bar. They sent somebody whose credentials were not up to the task. They rejected them. I know what I'm talking. Hey, some of you think maybe my presentation is brutal. But I say it this way so it can get in your soul that next time when you come to talk about public policy, nobody can teach me anything about public policy. As I conclude, CEO, it will benefit us to improve. Look at Singe, the technical school that there. Take about 10 instructors. They get public-private partnership, governmental, intergovernmental partnerships. Plead with the United States government to send you some of your best professors. All you need to do, get them lodging and vehicles. 3 professors can train about 50 Liberians, and they will benefit. Lastly, a project was launched, I think, 2007. They call it the Ministry of Finance Financial Management Program. I sat that entrance and I failed. They selected some of my friends. That project went successfully. It was held by the former Deputy Minister for Administration, Ekon Tingba. Many of those who graduated from that program, they are now controllers of financial experts in many of the ministries and agencies of government. The President Young Professional Program is a typical example. They invested so much in training some of the brilliant young men and women in this country. Today, they are holding top positions. Why can't we invest 250 million here? You want to take people from here, you go when they land.
25 million. 25 million.
25 million. And when they land, when they come here, they don't have computer in the ministry or agency. No electricity. And you underpay them. You expect them to come, they will.
Thank you for that, Patrick. Thank you, Mr. Dwadu.
All the thing one time back. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn on the path of Dr. Brooklet, and I'm going to continue. He said it so succinctly, and I'm going to continue on that path. But I will leave you with a story. In 1994, when Rwanda came out of the civil war, they had less than 19% of the faculty at the state-run university, the National University of Rwanda. What they did was they said, listen, we have to rebuild the university. They wanted a quality university. They went to counterparts across the globe. The first thing Kigami did was he built a facility that could house first world professors that was coming from Europe, that were coming from America to come down. He partnered with his university that the program will come into the country for 1 semester and teach economics at the university. He alternates. He goes around. He rebuilt the infrastructure that way. Now, the quality of Rwanda University now is almost comparable to most around the globe because he made a targeted decision to build that university. We have to be intentional about how we do the institutions in Liberia. Look, the education that we've gotten, a lot of people pay for it. My father, I will always worship the man. He paid a lot of money. Not one day I'll ever out of school. How can we transfer that knowledge? It's something we have not done to our people. Look, there's nothing wrong with coming to on this side. Instead, I want to make a point that you made, and you said some people went back. That is true. Most people that go back to Liberia, they go with an exception. I will come back if I'm deputy minister. I will come back if I'm controller. They don't just come back for coming back sick. It doesn't mean, look, Vendetta goes back to Liberia. It's an exception to the rule, but this is not common. The models are out there. We can study the models. It's been tested like the National University of Kigali. It's been tested in Kenya. It's been tested by Ghanaian universities. So they are teaming here. Even if you cannot get Westerners initially, you can come and target Liberian professors, African professors here in this country. If you build a facility that is comparable to a first world level and you put them there with the proper air conditioning and everything, they are willing to come and say, that's a way to promote the tourism industry. If you take a European that comes to Liberia for 6 months, his wife will come there. Maybe the sister won't visit her wife. Small, they start seeing Liberia. This is a better approach for me. It's a better approach.
Let me ask a question while we close the program. Eduardo, is this program a bad program, or you need more clarity?
It's not a bad program. Here's the thing about me. The program has been done for almost 40 years in Liberia. This very program.
Now I'm talking about the Nicotech program. You see it investing?
It doesn't matter the name you call it. The name is not the problem. Look, Vendetta, I think of Vendetta or that the program mentioned. How is the selection going to be made? Are we going to find our best and better minds, great high school kids?
So those are the questions I think the ministers, foreign minister, education minister will have to come and talk about. Those are the great ideas that if we all come together and contribute and ask this hard question, then they can tweak the idea.
We got historical record though. We got record.
Yeah, but
so more has been done before. Yeah,
but the record shouldn't deter us from trying
it shouldn't deter, but we know we're coming from somewhere. Okay, let me just give you an example. If okay, I'm not going to use that analogy because then we'll spin it over. If I can steal, every day I'm stealing, I'm a shoplifter. You want maybe your cashier in your shop? The point I'm trying to make, I'm not saying people steal you, but the program has always been designed where Duado minister. First of all, my sister coming on our program. My cousin's coming on our program.
Yeah, so Duado, it's just an introduction right now of the program. All right. So the formality as to who will be on the program, who it will be awarded to, the amount of money, how we pay back. Maybe we have to go in. The minister just introduced the program, Sarah Baslow. And so I want to say to all Liberians out there, again, I'll reach out to the foreign minister for her to come and answer even more questions to this. It's only fair that we give the government a chance. Now they have introduced this program, and that will consider all of your concern, which will help our fellow Liberians, moving with their own understanding. I said, listen, maybe this program is not that all bad. Maybe the suggestion of Duadu to spend 50% of the 25 million and keep 50% in the country to bring in people, maybe it will help. But I'm reading through this program from Sierra Leone. $100 million were given to Sierra Leone. We just saw 25 mil. 100 were given to Sierra Leone. The students from Sierra Leone in Canada, in the Americas, and but they will go back. We got to pray and say, help us, oh God, please go back to your country. 250 students. I mean, let's invite the ministers and give them the chance to answer some questions and help our fellow Liberians.
I think that's a good idea, Stanton. Let's get the whole picture. I agree.
Yeah, I'm not in a position yet to beat on Sarah or to beat on, what's the education minister name?
Jala.
No, it's not you, Duadu. I'm just saying it's not you. I'm seeing people, they want to know more. So it's a good thing letting people know more about this. But again, overall, I think we should try other avenue, and I must give it to this administration, President Bwaka even, for listening and giving them the chance and saying, you know what, you work it out. Let's see some Liberians here in America going to school, and when that time comes, we got ask and say, listen, you can't go back. And listen, Mo Ali went back. Nobody forced Mo Ali. You know, Mo Ali went back, and like you said,
So I think the issue is not just coming back. Let's assume all 250 come back. Is what are you coming back to? The capacity building on this side. Meaning at home. That's what I hear Dwalu saying. I totally agree.
Yeah, you are quite correct. As though you will leave the 60,000.
Mo Ali came back because he was working in government. He had to come back. Ordinary man who does not have anything, when they go there, they will never come back because there's no guarantee. They will have a job.
So again, it cannot stop us from helping our fellow Liberians because we are afraid that they will not come back. We pray let me finish now, Brother Fandela, please. We pray that they come back. We put Fandela, you will speak. My brother, you will speak.
My argument is shut down the show, and you shut all down.
No, I will not shut down the show today. I will not shut down the show today. You will speak. Do not be afraid. Yeah, but that's the problem. My thing is that not because they will not come back, we shouldn't keep on trying. Let's try. Let's encourage them. Let's create incentive that will bring them back. Okay, that's what the president is trying now to say: bring more jobs in the country, bring more investors in the country. Now, after 4 years, 5 years, we have 250 students out there thinking about coming back to the country. And when they look in the country, good electricity, good healthcare system, good education system, investment coming to the country, they will want to come back. But it shouldn't stop us from investing into the young minds. It shouldn't stop us from this great opportunity. And whether the government will pay about $25 million, hell yeah, we'll worry about that. But when we have 250 outside of the country hustling, they will be able to help also one way or the other. But I think it was a good program. Fandela, let me give you back the time, because before you say I cut you off.
I want this to be very clear. We're not against Liberian. I know a lot of Liberians. CEO, when I go to Cottington, I go to UL, people are graduating, magna cum laude, summa cum laude. They're doing their universities and colleges. No opportunities. This country is built on court. Who knows you? Somebody bring in mind. Imagine in the ministry and agency, let all ministry send 3% to America on scholarship. Scholarship is for scholars, not for buffoons. Many of those who benefit from these programs are...
Yeah, but you're trying to discriminate here. Send a buffon, maybe they will turn to be a scholar.
What I know that what happens.
Send a buffon, maybe they will turn to be a scholar. You cannot discriminate.
No, hey, if it is meant for scholarship, after I say in the ministry or agency, people apply, set up an independent, recruitment process, Ministry of Education, maybe National Commission on Higher Education to recruit. But when the information comes to say we want to take 5% to send them abroad for studies, they don't disseminate the information. They apply, they get accepted, they go. While they are there learning, they are getting paid. When they come back, they elevate themselves. 90% of these people who went abroad for studies, they spend government resources at the detriment of the poor. I know. So
I understand. I understand. Thank you, Fandela. Thanks to all. But I do understand that your concerns are very, very important. Let's put the mechanism in place that would bring them back. But because most of them will stay out of the country and we shouldn't help the one that need it, and ready desire to help, I will go against that and say, let's give it a try again. It's not all over. And create an avenue that the popular said that they will return to the country one good day and be a blessing to the nation. 25 million on the STEM program, bringing them to Canada, 250 of them, and to the Americas is great. It's unique. It's better. We're going to be having good doctors, nurses, engineers. Let's try to invest in those things. $25 million, I mean, for Liberia, I don't think it's a big of a money. But let's talk to this minister. Let's talk to Sarah Best-Loyanti. Let's talk to Dr. Jala and see how well they can explain this better. But this is a unique program and it's good for this government. It's good for the people of Liberia. And we all should applaud it and then work along with this great mind to make it better. So I think everybody at the end are welcome, and we will again strengthen and ask the hard question and bring those ministers to explain. So guys, thank you very much for joining us. Nelson, come on the show. Abatoba, thank you. Fandela Patrick, my own friend Paul Kennedy, Dr. Pople, Dr. Richardson is gone. I want to say thanks to all of you. A great show today. Join us again tomorrow. We'll talk legislative matter and we'll dive deeper into the way forward. As of today, Fonati Kofa said he's not resigning. He's not there yet, and he have other legal options to follow. We don't know what it may be, but we'll wait tomorrow and see. To all of you, we say thank you. May God bless your Wednesday. Thanks to Geraldine Pierre, the information minister, who always making his time to come and explain. We want to say drive home safe, Mr. Minister, and Godspeed to you. Thanks to Augustin Kweye Gafwan, who sent text messages in, and one day we'll have the finance minister to come and explain in simple terms for the people to hear about the bread and butter issue. Again, we'll talk about the appointment of the Commerce Minister, Magdalene Dakose. I've been hearing good things about her, and we will invite her someday to come and speak to Spoon. Again, we wish her well through her confirmation hearing. We would be telling you, man, let's try new things, and let's just applaud when it is only right by this government to do the best thing for her people. You know, let's criticize when necessary, but we shouldn't criticize in craziness. Again, for Dada Patrick, it's always good to have you. Thank you very much for bringing up the fire. To my brother Paul Kennedy, thank you very much as well. Have a good night, gentlemen, and may the Lord bless you. Till we meet again tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
So
If he's not calling me his friend, if he's not calling me his friend, he's calling me his brother. That, you know, Stanton has the problem. I'm either his friend or his brother. Vandela.
Either or is still good.
Yeah, Vandela.
Stanton is not a good man. I doubt whether on the day of judgment, whether you'll make it hearing.
Well, I'm not here to judge him. I'm not going to judge him.
No, me, I'm judging him.
With all his sins, he's still my friend. I don't choose friends because you are a perfect person. I choose you.
We all have sinned. We all have sinned. We all have sinned, and we fall short at the glory of God. But the wages of sin is death, and the gift of God